Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another version or a different version of Torchtales. Here we are at the Markal booth in Fabtech Chicago, and it's his first time here at Fabtech Chicago or Fabtech overall. Steve Kost. Steve, thank you very much, brother, for allowing me to have a conversation with you.
You bet,
kind of getting to know you a little bit more, ask you how the experience has been here in Fabtech, and also how do you work with Markal? You know, do you use the product? Why are we here? What do you think so far? And I'm going to ask all those questions, but let's start with you.
Okay.
Where are you from? Tell me a little bit more.
I live about 20 miles south of here in Illinois, a place called Palos Park, and I'm happy to hear that Chicago was hosting Fabtech this year.
Yep.
Got a couple of artists from out of town, guys that I know from Scrap Fest that were coming here, and we decided to kind of pal around together and thank all the sponsors. Markal's been a big sponsor of Scrap Fest,
I've seen many of your posts, definitely, I love the synergy that you guys have going on, supporting each other. That's what the industry is all about. So.
Yeah.
Now, how long of a drive for you to come here?
Well, honestly, I live about 20 miles south, but in Chicago, that equates to about an hour and 20 minutes worth of traffic, man. So I've been getting here about 6:30, almost 7 o'clock, sitting in the parking deck and taking care of business for myself,
Hey.
I would rather sit there and be productive than sit on the highway and watch brake lights going off, man.
I totally agree. And I know that you and I have had this conversation before, but I believe that every time I have the same conversation with the same person, the setting will determine new answers,
You
right?
know it, yeah.
So I know already a little bit, but tell me, why welding? Why do you connect with metal and Markal and everything that you are doing, and what is it that you're trying to do? What is the end goal?
The end goal for me is actually for my own peace of mind. You know what, I'm an iron worker by trade. I work high above Chicago on a regular basis, and at night when I get home and relax and unwind, there's times I have issues with sleep. I can't sleep, I get wound up. I have a lot of nightmares, man. I'm a combat veteran. I've been through some things.
Thank you for your service again.
You're welcome, man. It was an honor to serve, and unfortunately during some of that, had some experiences that stuck with me, and I didn't take care of it in a healthy way. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I carried that around with me for a long time, and then about 10 years ago, I would wake up in the middle of the night, start taking apart typewriters and sewing machines, and I just wanted to know how those pieces worked. And next thing you know, I got a welder and I started putting them together. Very simple, bugs and robots.
So why a typewriter? Because you had it there, it was yours, you found it, you were walking around, it's like, oh, I can do something with that.
You know what, it was an old typewriter I got in an estate sale, and I wanted to just kind of see, like, how do these keys actually make the keys strike on there? So it was just curiosity and something to keep me busy. I didn't want to think about why I was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning on a work night. And next thing you know, I got a welder, started welding them together, and the art took off for me.
So for you, welding is therapy?
I would say that creating artwork is therapy. Welding is work. During the day, I am a skilled welder.
Well
tradesman.
said, well said.
Yes, sir.
So let's rephrase that.
Yeah.
Creating,
Yeah.
being an artist, just grabbing something from scrap and creating something that people can connect with.
That's right.
When did you know that you had an artistic vein in you?
Not when I was a kid, and you know what, about around the time that I started taking those typewriters apart and reforming the pieces, and I was using the bolts from the typewriter itself to put things back together.
Yeah.
And then when I started welding, it all came together. Then I didn't have to drill holes and rivets. And you know what, I took a couple of years by myself. I wasn't sharing with anyone but my wife, and I was actually learning how to get symmetrical and how to make the correct proportions for animals that I was creating. Once I got good at doing that, I decided, like, okay, I'm going to find a place where I can show this. I went on my computer late one night and I looked for scrap metal art, and the Scrap Fest came up.
Gotcha.
And I thought, okay, well, Ivan Eiler, everybody knows who he is. Andrew Stahl, a bunch of really talented people, and I'm like, all right, if I'm good enough, if I get accepted in this thing and I get to share my art in there, then I know I'm doing something right. But if these are guys that are working in scrap metal look at my stuff and tell me I'm not good enough, that's a good sign for me. And you know what? I'm happy to say I was the first guy from out of town that traveled to Michigan, Lansing, Michigan for Scrap Fest.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was able to take part, and you know what? I made friends there, man. I was welcome into the group, and that's the nice thing about artists, man, is very supportive with each other and helping to...
I could not have said that better. And talking about art, so we don't have to spend the whole time you're holding your baby, right?
Yeah, he's a little heavy.
I want you to show me your baby and tell me, what is it? How long did it take you? Why this particular sculpture? Tell me a little bit about what you got going on your lap.
Well, this one for sure is just a combination of all the mechanical aptitude and the the joints, making them so that he's articulates
Okay.
for me. But some of these pieces were my father's wrenches. And I remember
really?
my father passed away. I got this toolbox of all these old tools, and I really just had them sitting there. I wasn't using them. I'm not using brake calipers and doing those kind of things. So I decided if I was going to make something, I'm going to use something that's very special to me. So this Pinocchio right here got a lot of these.
So this
joints.
is not for sale. This is.
I suppose to the right buyer. you know,
Hey,
I would be interested in selling it or actually sharing it someplace,
There you
But
go.
it has special meaning to me.
So let's lift it up a little for the camera so they can
make
see
sure
the whole
everybody
thing.
can see.
Yep.
It moves.
There you go. So pretty much everything moves.
Yep.
As you can see, right?
Yeah.
Now, the inspiration, Pinocchio. You see all these wrenches, you see this toolbox, and you go, that's exactly what I can make. Because I don't have that. So yeah.
You know what I like to tell people is that I was not creative. I didn't win spelling bees, and I wasn't in sports and stuff. So when I started creating this stuff, I started simple. And every artist has to take a journey as you learn, as you develop your skill. You come to a point in your life where you say, well, I'm not good enough to do that. These other guys are really good. I see their social media presence. They got thousands of followers. I got 50. But eventually, when you're doing it for yourself, and you share that stuff and you get feedback from people that you've never met, not your family, not your friends, and definitely not your wife, someone who doesn't have a vested interest in making you feel better about yourself, they say, man, I like what you made there. That is cool, man.
Well, you know what it is that people connect with people that are real. And the biggest thing is that we all have our struggles, and we all have different ways of just letting our creative art, our creative minds just connect. And even if some people don't connect with it, it's a release for you.
Very much,
there's millions of people going through the same struggles, and oh my God, if he can do that, I can do that. And I think it's such a normal thing.
It is, and that's the nice thing about the artwork is that this isn't something that you have to order online and get it sent to the house.
Yep.
And I like to tell people, I'm a combat veteran. That's what took me down my journey and started me doing this stuff. But let's be honest with each other, Frank. Being an adult is a traumatic experience, man.
Hey, I still don't know what I'm doing. And I'm 48 years old. I'm like, I just make half the stuff up as I go.
Yeah.
I've never want to grow up. So.
Yeah, and as we grow older, we got our parents get old and we pass away. We lose our pets, we lose our friends. Sometimes we lose our children, our brothers. It sucks to be an adult. It's difficult. And if you could find something that you can actually create and concentrate on, find 1 hour a day for yourself. And it doesn't have to be scrap metal art, but it could
anything
be, it
that
could
you
be
connect
crochet,
with.
it could be watercolor photography.
Yep.
I also played drums in a rock band, and that was what I first started. But in 2020, when the music scene just stopped, I had to find something that I could promote, and I was like, I'm going to start promoting my art. And wouldn't you know it, man, everybody was trapped in their homes because of COVID and lockdown. I was able to push and promote myself and reach audiences. I got people all over the world sending me messages on a regular basis.
That's cool.
Feels so good, man.
I got goosebumps. Thank you for sharing that. Now, first time Fabtech, Chicago. Of course, we've all heard about Fabtech. I mean, who hasn't heard about Fabtech in the industry? Why did it take you that long to come to this show? And second, so far, what do you think?
Well, number one, I didn't want to come here because of the traffic I just told you about. It's hard to get around. I don't even like having to work in the city, but you know what? We all got bills to pay and we got to do it.
Yep.
But honestly, my friends from Scrap Fest are here, and they asked me, hey man, we're right in your hometown. Let's go have a beer. And next thing you know, I'm signed up and down here, and it's a good thing, man. A lot of these people that have sponsored us, we're able to make an in-person visit and say, here, you've helped me get this far. You've helped to sponsor and part of our journey, and we appreciate it. You know?
For sure.
These are the faces behind the people that post the stuff online, the people who are at the junkyard collecting that material. So.
That's great. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad this is, I don't even know how many I've done so far.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's been a lot, but I'm glad that you're having a great time. But now that you just mentioned sponsors and all that, we are at the Markal booth.
Yeah.
All right, which by the way, I got to look at the number because I don't remember, but this video is going to post after Fabtech for sure, but the booth is 33054, right?
That's right.
So Markal here, this is where we are. How did that connection happen between you and Markal?
Well, for me, I did an interview with Candace from Markal Markers, and I told her, I said, the first time I touched and used a Markal pen was when I went to boot camp at Great Lakes when I joined the Navy. And the first day we were there, they shave your heads, and then they give you all your new clothing, and then they give you a valve action paint marker. And they ask, hey, you have to stencil your name on everything. It's got to be done correctly. And since then, I've used these on job sites. I have the tool, the needle nose marker that I carry with me every day in my fab
I was
shop.
going to say, why do you have that in your pocket? Like, you know what?
This is part of what I carry every day, like my cell phone and my wallet. You know? Yeah.
Now, you use it specifically. Walk me. What do you use it for on a daily basis when you are creating art? What's the use, and what are the possible uses for it?
Yep, I do a lot of work in industrial machinery at the sewage plant I work at here in Chicago, and a lot of wet environments. So I've gotten a bunch of the tools, a bunch of the markers from Markal that I can use in wet environments, oily surfaces, rough surfaces. I do a lot of conveyor work and stuff like that in a dark, dimly lit area. I want a marker that shows up bright and can mark on that stuff. And once you know, when I got home and I start creating, I reach in my pocket, well, I've got the tools I carry every day. So Markal, I actually use it to demark locations of where I'm going to attach things on the sculpture.
Cool.
You know, so it is a real tool, and you know what? I like to keep it simple. I got 3 tools that I use. I use a Markal marker. I use a 4-inch grinder for cutting things, and then I got a 110 welder plugged into the overhead garage door opener, and those are the tools I use. I use 1/16 welding rods, and I mean, actually here at Fabtech, my first time, I've come across welding companies that were willing to help me get a MIG welder, get a TIG welder. I would love to. Someday maybe I will, but for now I'm going to stick with what I know.
Hey, that's your strength. You know,
I'm going to be true to myself.
That story reminds me of the hair product line back in the day that the guy came out in the commercials and said, "I'm not just a user, I'm a customer."
I'm also a client.
So that's a client. There you go.
Yeah.
So that reminded me of that. Are you sure you're good, or you want to put it on the ground?
Man. Yeah, I'm happy with them. I just feel them shifting around.
Hey, you know, it's you're not getting paid just to have that on your lap.
I know.
Saying.
Yeah, this is a lot better than carrying them around because he is pretty heavy.
For sure. Now, give me one thing that was the one thing that surprised you the most here at the show, something that you just didn't know, and it just blew your mind because of whatever it is. Like, what was that, man?
Well, the one thing was a walking robot that I saw yesterday in this other hall. I've been seeing videos on Instagram and stuff like that, but the thing that really surprised me the most was people would come up to me and say, "Hey, can I get my picture taken with you? Can I get one of your stickers? I follow you, and I'm a fan of your work." And you know what? That means a lot to a guy like me. That feels very good. And you know what? I didn't make it a big point to say, "Hey, I'm going to be here, at this time." I've just been walking around, and I'm surprised how many people know who I am. They've seen my work on the internet. They've seen videos of me on TV. And you know what? Like, along with the other artists from Scrap Fest, we're all doing this together. We're all growing year after year.
That's
and you know what? This is a big step for me to actually come out here and meet some of these manufacturing companies and some of the people that run these booths.
You know, you're such an inspiring story, and I'm glad that you're open to share how vulnerable you have been, and how you found an outlet that actually just lets you deal with being an adult, right?
Yeah,
that's
true.
And just when you have a bad day, maybe you go to the shop and let me mark something, let me start cutting, let me start welding something, putting something together. So I want to thank you for being that open, and because you never know who might see your story, hear your story, and go,
truthfully,
oh crap, that's me. You know, I can.
And you know
I can do that.
You hit the nail on the head. When I started doing this, I made my name Dad's 357 because I didn't want people to know it was Steve Kost. Because if this was a train wreck, I didn't want people to say, "I know that guy and he's not an artist." Now I have to spend time telling people that that is actually me. Yeah.
You know what it is that anyone that creates art, you're putting yourself out there.
You're right.
So the minute you're even shy in the beginning of showing anything because oh, that piece, it's Steve.
Yep.
Now I think Steve, does he has a broken heart? Does he, is your money in the right place? Because I'm looking at that piece and it's kind of, there's something off. So
there is.
It's a way of just saying, this is who I am.
Yep.
But I want to thank you again for just being a cool, down-to-earth guy.
Thanks, man.
Also for just being a veteran. Thank you again for your service.
Sure.
You know, it means a lot. My son just joined the Navy, so now I have a connection, right?
Yeah.
And also, I want to say thank you to Markal for having us and allowing us to just be here in their booth and just having this conversation with a good friend of the industry, someone that is a customer.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that you would like to say?
You know what? Like you said about the military, your son just joined the Navy, and that's a good thing. I joined the Navy at 17 years old, and not only that, I went in the middle of the school year. So there was, I was about 115 pounds. Everyone around me was adults with mustaches, and here I was. I looked like a kid who ran away from home. But you know something? Some of the experiences I had in the military were stuck with me, and they shaped me into the person I am today. And you know, even though that something bad happened, I was in Mogadishu, Somalia, and I had some experiences there. And you know what? I want to be living proof that even though something bad happens, something good can come from that. And for me to share that has been healing, and for me to keep on creating this stuff is a good way for me to actually express myself. My favorite thing is getting messages from other veterans, tell me how proud they are that I'm sharing my story and inspiring other veterans to go out there and do something for themselves. I mean, there's a healthy outlet.
Well, brother, again, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting the industry. Thank you for giving back. Also, thank you to Markal for just supporting people that support the industry, and it goes back and forth. You know, it's a whole circle. It's a circle of life. So if you support them, they support you, and that's the perfect circle. That's the 360 of life, and that's how life should be. Support each other. Brother, thank you so much for,
Thanks,
again,
Frank. Good to see you
just
again.
taking your time
and
and being here. Again, thank you, Markal. Hey, again, support companies that support people.
Yes.
That's it, right?
Thank you.
See you on the next one.